You clear the weeds, take your time with it, make sure you get the roots out. And for a little while, everything feels back in place. But then, not long after, they start coming back. Sometimes quietly, sometimes all at once. And at some point, you begin to wonder, am I missing something here? Because it doesn't feel like a lack of effort. If anything, it feels like you're doing more and getting less in return. From my experience, this is where a lot of gardeners get stuck. Not because they're doing it wrong, but because the problem isn't where it appears to be. We tend to focus on what we can see: the leaves, the roots, the surface. But weeds often begin long before they show up like that. So instead of looking at how to remove them better, it might help to understand why they keep returning in the first place. In this video, we'll take a closer look at what's happening underneath the soil, how weeds can keep coming back even after careful removal, and what small shifts can help you reduce them over time, without feeling like you have to constantly fight your garden.
After a while, it stops feeling like a simple task and starts to feel like something you're not quite getting right. You clear the weeds, they come back. So naturally, you try to be more thorough the next time. You pull deeper, you check more carefully, you spend a little more time each round. And on the surface, that seems reasonable, because in most things, doing more usually leads to better results. But gardening doesn't always work that way. From my experience, this is where many of us quietly shift from observing the garden to trying to control it. And that shift can be subtle. It doesn't feel like overdoing anything. It just feels like you're trying to keep things in order. But sometimes, the more we try to fix what we see, the further we move away from what's actually causing it. And with weeds, that can turn into a cycle, where each round of effort feels necessary, but doesn't really change the outcome. So before we look at what to do differently, when we see weeds, we naturally focus on what's visible: the leaves, the stems, the part we can pull. And it feels like that's where the problem is. But in many gardens I've seen, what shows up on the surface is only the final step of something that started much earlier. Because weeds don't really begin when they appear. They begin long before that, quietly, underneath the soil. By the time you notice them, a process has already been unfolding, one that isn't always obvious from above. This is why it can feel confusing. You remove what you see, carefully, completely, and yet it doesn't seem to change what happens next. From my experience, this is one of the most important shifts to make in gardening. Not just asking, how do I remove this better, but instead, what allowed this to show up in the first place? Because once you begin to look at the garden that way, you start paying attention to if weeds don't begin when we see them, then the natural question is, where do they actually begin? In many home gardens, a large part of that answer comes from something you don't usually notice at all. It's often called the seed bank. And despite the name, it's not a place you can clearly see, or something that looks organized or obvious. It's simply the collection of seeds that already exist in your soil. Some of them may have fallen recently. Others might have been there for years, quietly waiting. From my experience, this is one of the most overlooked parts of gardening, because nothing appears to be happening. The surface looks still, the soil looks empty. But underneath, there can be hundreds, sometimes thousands of seeds just waiting for the right conditions. Light, moisture, disturbance. Those small changes can... One of the more surprising things about weed seeds is not just that they exist in the soil, but how long they can remain there. In many home gardens, some seeds don't sprout right away. They wait. From what I've seen over time, some seeds can stay inactive for months, others for years. And during that time, nothing about the surface really changes. The soil looks the same, the garden feels stable. But underneath, those seeds are still there. They're not gone. They're not
solved. They're simply waiting for the right moment. And that moment doesn't have to be dramatic. A bit more light reaching the soil, a change in moisture, or even a small disturbance from digging or pulling. That can be enough. At this point, something starts to connect. If seeds are already in the soil, and some of them are simply waiting, then what actually causes them to wake up? One of the most common triggers, and one that's easy to overlook, is the way we disturb the soil. Digging, turning, loosening, these all feel like helpful actions, and in many cases they are. But they also do something else at the same time. They bring buried seeds closer to the surface. They expose them to light. They change the moisture around them. And sometimes, that's exactly what those seeds were waiting for. From my experience, this is where a small habit can quietly create a bigger pattern. You work the soil to improve it, but without realizing, you may also be activating a new way. So now, when you clear a patch of weeds, and everything looks clean again, it can feel like the problem has been taken care of. But what we've seen so far suggests something different. Because even after you remove what's visible, the soil doesn't suddenly become empty. There are still seeds beneath the surface, some of them closer than before, some of them already responding to the changes you made. Light reaching the soil more directly, moisture settling into loosened ground, less competition on the surface. All of that creates an opening. From my experience, this is why a garden can look clean one week and then quietly fill back in the next. Not because something new arrived, but because something that was already there finally had the chance to grow. At some point, it's easy to come to a simple conclusion. If the weed is gone, roots and all, then the problem should be gone too. And in that moment, it feels logical. You've removed what you can see. You've taken the root out carefully, so it should be enough. But from what we've been looking at so far, that idea starts to feel incomplete, because the root you remove is only part of the story. What you're pulling out is just one plant, one result, but the soil underneath can still hold many more seeds that haven't even started growing yet. From my experience, this is where frustration often builds. You do the work properly, you take the time, you even improve your technique. After removing weeds, it's natural to leave the soil open for a while. It looks clean. It feels like a reset. And in many ways, that open space gives a sense of control. Nothing is growing, nothing is in the way. But over time, that same openness can quietly become an invitation. Because in a garden, bare soil is rarely neutral. It receives light directly, it holds moisture near the surface, and it offers space without competition. From my experience, this is one of the easiest conditions for weeds to return. Not because anything went wrong, but because the environment became ideal. The seeds that were already there don't need much more than that. When we care for a garden, we usually try to be consistent. Water regularly, keep the soil moist, make sure everything has what it needs. And in many ways, that consistency is a good thing. It helps plants settle. It supports steady growth. But there's something easy to overlook here. The garden doesn't separate what we want to grow from what we don't. The water you give, the nutrients in the soil, the care you provide, they reach everything. From my experience, this is one of the more subtle reasons weeds can return so quickly. Because they're not just surviving, they're being supported. When conditions are steady and favorable, weeds respond just like any other plant would. They grow. Sometimes, if you spend a little time just watching your garden, without doing anything right away, you may start to notice a pattern. Weeds don't grow at the same rate all the time. There are moments when they seem almost inactive, and others when they appear much more quickly. From what I've seen, those stronger waves of growth often follow specific changes, not random ones, but small shifts in the environment. after the soil has been disturbed, after a few days of steady moisture, or when more light suddenly reaches the surface. Individually, these changes don't seem... After seeing how weeds really behave, it becomes harder to think of them as something you can simply eliminate. Because they're not just isolated problems. They're part of how the garden responds to its conditions. And once you see that, the goal begins to shift. Not toward removing every weed you see, but toward changing the pattern that allows them to keep returning. From my experience, this is a quieter way of working with the garden, less about control and more about influence. Instead of asking, how do I get rid of all of this? The question becomes, how do I make this space less inviting for weeds over time? So if bare soil creates an opportunity, one natural question is, what happens when that surface is no longer exposed? In many gardens, one of the simplest ways to reduce weed growth over time is to cover the soil. Not heavily, not aggressively, just enough to change the conditions at the surface. Because most weed seeds need a few basic things to begin: light reaching the soil, space to settle, and the right balance of moisture. When the surface is covered, those conditions start to shift. Less light reaches the soil directly. Moisture becomes more stable, and space becomes more limited. From my experience, this doesn't stop weeds. Another quiet shift that can make a difference is how much space we leave between plants. In many gardens, it's common to give each plant plenty of room. It feels safer, more organized, easier to manage. But that extra space doesn't stay empty for long. Because just like bare soil, open gaps between plants can become an opportunity. Light reaches the ground, moisture settles in, and there's little competition, which means weeds can step in and fill that space. From my experience, this is where planting density starts to matter. Not overcrowding, but not leaving the soil too open either. When plants grow closer together, just enough to... So when you look back at everything we've covered, the pattern becomes a little clearer. Weeds aren't just something to remove, they're something to understand. And once you see that, the way you care for your garden starts to feel simpler, not harder. Because instead of reacting every time something appears, you begin to guide the conditions over time. Less exposed soil, more consistent coverage, and a bit more awareness of how the surface is changing. From my experience, this doesn't require big changes, just small habits done a little more intentionally. Each week, you might take a few quiet minutes to look at your garden, not to fix everything. Thank you for spending this time in the garden with me. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more quiet, practical gardening insights. I'll see you again in the next one.